This is Jail Talk, the official podcast of the Texas Jail Association. Here is your host, Aimee Crockett.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a panel here that is well-informed, a wealth of knowledge from jails all over Texas, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So, hey, Jennifer.
Hello. My name is Jennifer Segura. I am a lieutenant with the Travis County Sheriff's Office. I've been there for 29 years. I'm over the standards and compliance section over there. I've been in that section for almost 2 years now, and I think I found my niche there. I truly enjoy my job working in corrections, but I believe that was my niche. This is my baby. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. My name is Jason Davis. I'm a sergeant in the compliance unit at the Brazos County Sheriff's Office. I've been there a year and a half, but I've been in the business almost 30 years. So I feel like I know a little bit about what's going on, I hope. But yeah, I have a lot of fun doing it. I work with another sergeant in the unit. But we work closely with our lieutenants and our jail staff to keep in compliance with our jail standards.
Excellent. Okay, you, sir?
My name is Ricky Armstrong. I'm the Assistant Director for the Texas Commission on Jail Standards. I've been in law enforcement corrections now for 34 years. I retired after 31 years from the McLean County Sheriff's Office. Been with the state now for about 3.5 years. So.
Very good. I want to thank all of you guys for joining us today. So the topic we're going to go with today is we're talking about compliance units. So we have the commission here. So we're all going to say the right thing and not mess anything up. No nerves there. Compliance units are typically a group of people who kind of make sure that everyone is complying with what's supposed to be going on in jail. So what I want to ask you guys to do is if you will tell us a little bit about what at your agency, what a compliance unit does and what it means. And then I want to hear from Ricky about what he thinks the benefits from that are. Jennifer.
So with our compliance section at Travis County, we supplement what the sergeants and the lieutenants are already doing downstairs. Mm-hmm. We are a large agency. We have over 2,500 inmates in our facility right now. And, every sergeant and lieutenant, they're all assigned to be responsible for their section. So that first floor, they're responsible for that first floor of what they have to oversee. And it's a lot. I mean, it's with it being a large agency, it's a lot for them to oversee. And so we go in and supplement and do additional audits, do additional inspections to help them find and make sure that we're staying in compliance and just to assist. We're support. We also respond to grievances. We also respond to jail standards complaints. We do disciplinary boards. We've taken that off their plate. However, we still provide that insight on the boards through having them, the sergeants from the buildings and officers and what have you, because it's a lost skill. So we help knock out those disciplinary boards, but we don't want them to lose the skill. So we still have sergeants and officers from the buildings assist us with those things. But yeah, we're very much a support system. We recently took over the kitchen as well, because that tends to be one of the bigger areas there that could have some compliance issues. So now the kitchen is under standards and compliance. So we are now doing that.
So you're a whole
Awesome.
division. Okay, very
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
Jason, what do y'all do in Brazos County?
So working as a sergeant in the compliance unit, I have another sergeant that I work with, and we're more like spot checkers, I guess you can say. But we work closely also with our lieutenants and our floor sergeants. And we have a grievance officer that's under us. She handles the grievances, and then of course there's the grievance board. We have a sergeant that's over our special housing unit, and he's also over classification. He handles all the disciplinary procedures, but we communicate well with everyone. We have a sergeant over the kitchen. We work with him as far as like the meals and everything like that. But real close with our lieutenants over each division, and like I said, we spot check. The compliance isn't all just on the compliance unit. It starts from the floor officers working in the dorms all the way up to our jail administrators. So, but everyone's on the compliance team. So Sergeant Smith and I work together, and we work closely reviewing all of our documentation. We do quarterly inspections also, but it's more like it's not quarterly. We do it every day when we go. As soon as we walk in the facility, our job is compliance. So that's we're coordinators, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
So I from my experience, the first beginning of a compliance unit I saw when I was in Dallas was getting us ready for inspection. We felt like leaving it just to the floor sergeants and just to the jail staff individually. We needed more centralized, everybody get your stuff together. And so preparing for inspection, we're talking about we're complying with standards. So your perspective obviously is much broader with the whole state. So tell me what you see with compliance units or anything to do with that from your perspective.
Sure. So as a regulatory agency, like you said, we see everything. So everything from the small jails to the large jails. And when the larger jails or any jail that is capable of having a compliance team, the inspections go quicker and smoother. They really do. Because like you said, you have all the centralized documents. They're all in one place. We're not sitting there waiting to get things. And they tend to be better inspections as well. A common phrase that's used in a lot of inspections is trust but verify. And I believe that came from Bob Knowles at Tarrant County, who's no longer with us. But we use that a lot, trust but verify. And that's what the compliance teams are doing. You're trusting your employees, but you're verifying that these documents are done, that they're complete, they're there. And if not, you're fixing those situations before we even arrive, which is great.
Excellent. I appreciate that. That's trust but verify. And just as an aside, Bob Knowles was at Dallas County first, and is a past president of TJA.
Yes, he is.
Shameless plug for TJA. All right. So trust but verify. They're checking paperwork. There are probably pluses and minuses to it. I know when we would see them come to the floor, there were reactions from my line staff. So I want to hear from you guys, especially if you were in it from the beginning. Kind of tell me how it's benefited, and which we've kind of already heard, but also what are some other perceptions that can come from that?
So it's people look at us when we come onto the units just to conduct a walkthrough or something and check the housing areas out there, like, oh, there's the compliance unit. But we don't want that. I don't like that perception, because we're all part of a team and we all work together. And I want them to feel comfortable being able to tell us, hey, this is what we're seeing. And because I try to stay in touch with our floor staff and line staff and let them, if they see problems before we do, and it's like I said, we're all on the compliance team. So we rely on our line staff and our shift sergeants a lot to communicate with us and help us see things. We walk into our units every day, so we may miss something, right? And if someone else has got a different point of view or something, and they're going to say, hey, what about this? And so that communication is key to keeping everything running smoothly. So
okay, very good. Yeah. What do you think?
So you were absolutely correct on the challenges, and the same with you, Jason, when you were saying that you walk in and they're like, well, there's compliance. And what my sergeants dealt with when they would walk into the office to go collect the disciplinary board packets or to do their audits, you don't do anything. You're just sitting out there looking at the computer and what have you. And it was just a lot of disparaging comments between each other and,
absolutely.
And to be transparent about it. And we had to really bridge that gap there. To have people understand we're here to help you. We're not, they're like, why are you sending this stuff down to to us? We can check around. Well, we're just here to help you. You have such a large building. You always say you have so much to do. We want to help you. And to bridge that gap, we actually started a training program.
Okay.
So new sergeants come up and train with us for a week. Tenured sergeants come up and train with us for 3 days. We actually have new lieutenants that come up and train with us. And tenured lieutenants have come and sat with us for a day or two, and it actually gives them a better oversight of what we're doing. And they see we're not just sitting and going through the computer and what have you. But it was really rough at first to try to get that buy-in from people and to understand that, we're a team. We're supposed to be doing this together. We're here to help you. Tell us what we can do to help you. And that was a little bit rough at the beginning, but bridging that gap, we still have. You're not in the trenches. Okay, we're here to help you while you're in the trenches. And
right.
So we're in it with you. So,
and I know that you guys probably provide reports back to your staff, both up the chain and down the
absolutely.
Chain. But what I try to do and what I've seen is it's really also an opportunity to catch people doing something right. You can give a report that says you were so good in these areas, a little bit of struggle here. Pick this up, clean this up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the other side of it. I think a lot of times it's how it's reported back.
Yes.
Yeah, is a big part of it as well. Okay, so I hear just in what you guys were talking about, different responsibilities depending on how the team is built. I'm kind of curious, what have you seen as far as, and I guess I kind of want to reach out to anyone that doesn't have a compliance unit that's thinking about it. What are some like bare bones, if you have a unit, even if it's only a couple of staff that have responsibilities, what are some things that would really be a good foundation for a compliance unit?
Sure. So, and we tell small jails all the time that didn't have the staff to build a nice compliance team that you have, that follow up, right? So there's some areas that have to have electronic rounds or cameras, and it's required. Most of them have both nowadays, but do spot checks every once in a while. Follow up on those areas, like your face-to-face visuals. For the 30-minute face-to-face visuals, have a supervisor go back and look at those face-to-face visuals, and then spot check the camera to make sure they were done and done properly. Because not only does it have to be done, it has to be, you have to look at them. So that's a lot of issues we have when they're not looking in the cells and actually looking to make sure the body's there, right, or the inmate's there. So yeah, just follow up on the areas. Start small and build it up when you can. Some other things that we've seen as well is going to other jails, right? And that's been popular. I know TJA worked with some of that in the past, but the compliance teams, I think, built out of that. But and go to your neighboring county's jail, the jail administrator, when you have time, if we can ever find time, right? But yeah, when you have time, go to your neighbor's jail, inspect their jail, and then come inspect yours. Do those spot checks that way.
Okay, so let me ask you about that. And you guys, I'm going to give everybody kind of a chance to talk. We hope to reach people who don't even work in jails. So we're talking about inspections. We're talking about complying with standards. Let's kind of just y'all are going to go into a unit. What are people looking, what is looked for by an inspection? What are you guys looking for? What are jail staff supposed to be doing as far as complying with standards?
So when we go into a unit, the first thing you do is you walk into the unit and the smell, right?
Sure.
So, and it gives you an idea of what that inspection is going to be like. It really does. Does the jail smell clean, or does it smell dirty? Does it smell like body odor? Things like that. I mean, that's a big clue when you walk in. You automatically know how day is going to go. But you look for sanitation. You look for issues. The cleanliness of the jail. Is there trash all over the place, or is it clean? Then you're looking at the staff. And when you're walking through the jails and talking with inmates, are they doing their jobs? Are they walking by, doing their face-to-face visual? Are they talking to the inmates? How are they talking to the inmates? What's the report? You get a culture feel real quick when you walk in a jail and start looking around and see how things are going.
It's interesting because when I hear you say that, we all know that. That's absolutely right. But for someone who's never been in a jail, if you have an opportunity to tour your county jail, I highly encourage it. I know our county jail does provide that option. But it's something people don't even think about. Yes, you make sure the jail is clean. Yes, you make sure that trash is picked up. Officers, yeah, the way they interact with one another, it's all observed. It's all kind of graded to some degree. Yeah. So tell me, you go in and what are you looking for?
So again, cleanliness. We have all the cleaning supplies, and we to give to our inmate population to clean. Are the staff giving it to them? Does it need replacing? Do they need something extra? So we look for that kind of stuff. We also I want to touch on grievances with that, because if you pay attention to your grievances, your inmate population kind of tells you what kind of problems we're having in our jail. Because if you see something that's like a main topic, whether it's we're not getting cleaning supplies, or they're all going to complain about the food. There's not much we can do. But again, that kind of tells you where your weak points might be. Sure. Is paying attention to that. So that's another, besides just walking into our facility and walking around our facility, is all the documentation that we review and keep up with also.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Completely agree with both of you. The grievance system is very much for a good tool for foresight to see where the trends are and where the issues are at. But walking in, yes, sanitation is a huge thing, especially in psychiatric units. You want to make sure while all units are important, this tends to be where the issues are as far as sanitation occurs more frequently. And so we definitely make sure that the cleaning supplies are being offered to them, because I know some of the officers may say, they might assault us, or they're going to do something. We still need to clean the cells. We still need to make sure that people are getting their showers. So yes, I completely agree with both of y'all regarding to what y'all are saying, that you pay attention to it, and it is a very telling of how that inspection is going to go.
And the documentation goes much further, and we don't need to go into all of that. That's a whole nother podcast. But there is a great deal of documentation. I think all the jail standards, anyone that's not from the jail business that's listening everything they want to find, they can find on your website. You want to know
Absolutely,
what standards we're trying to meet.
Yeah, there's Texas minimum jail standards. It's in the Texas Administrative Code. It is on our website. There's a big button there you can click on and find our standards and read all you want.
A little bit of light reading.
It goes all the way through construction and how jail's built, all the way to that you have to feed them 3 times a day, and licensed dietitians sign off on menus and healthcare, and it's all there.
So different, again, like you said, if you don't even have the staff to staff an actual team, but if you're trying to structure a team or you're building a team, there are a couple of things about it, because they are checking paperwork, they are kind of grading supervisors, and we do come from a paramilitary chain of command organization. Talk to me about structures of the team and kind of who they answer to and why the structure might be a little bit different for this unit.
Okay, so I can touch on that. Sergeant Smith and I were at the sergeant level. We work closely with the lieutenants that are over the different divisions, but she and I answer directly to our jail administrator, who is the chief deputy. So he is our supervisor. And of course, with a chain of command, we will answer to the lieutenants for certain things, but our chief deputy is our go-to person for our.
And why is that? Why is it structured that way?
Because a good answer for that is just the communication,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we work for him. We go out and we do our jail inspections, our personal inspections. We see our problems and what we need to shine our spotlight on
Mm-hmm.
at that time. Of course, we communicate that with the lieutenant that needs to know that, but that he needs to know that, right? Because
Absolutely.
ultimately he is over the jail and he answers to the sheriff.
Right.
So we are his sounding board, I guess you can say.
Absolutely. And that, are you structured the same way?
Well, we have the sergeants. They do definitely report directly to me, but I communicate very openly with both my captain and the major, especially when we have new Senate bills go into play, House bills, because it's something that we review, and that will create an ancillary duty probably for sergeants, such as the new one that came out for the pregnant females. And so that creates an ancillary duty for one of our compliance sergeants. So that communication directly with the captain and the major, that is a very important key right there. Because again, like you said, Jason, they're responsible ultimately
Mm-hmm.
for the functioning and operation of the facility.
Yeah, that's the way we see it. Where I am. Our sergeant reports directly to the captain for the same reason. It's not. I think that if a sergeant reports it to the lieutenant and then it stops there, but it's your responsibility
Mm-hmm.
to guarantee that it goes past that lieutenant. And not that anyone would ever hide anything or keep
Right.
anything from anyone, but it could happen. And so that direct line of communication is critical for that reason, because you're trying to stay in compliance.
But when you have a sergeant reviewing things that another sergeant or a lieutenant or maybe even a captain, depending on the size of your facility, and you have to report that to someone, then that's different size facilities have different structures, and the larger facilities have more resources. You might have a captain in your compliance team, so that can go all the way up. But when you have sergeants that are at the top of that division, then that a lot of times is the direct report to the jail administrator, just because of the sensitivity of some of the things that you're
Absolutely,
looking at.
yeah. Have you seen any drawbacks from compliance units? I mean, we always want to look at the negative side of things, so just in case.
I don't think so.
Have you ever had any situations where it kind of was, they relied on them, it was kind of that was our compliance team, and kind of a catch-all or a blame game?
Not really. I mean, compliance has a job, right? And we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes.
Sure.
So who follows up and follows behind the compliance team? So yeah, there has been situations where we had to put some jails or a jail in non-compliance for a certain situation that just didn't get followed up on, maybe. But I wouldn't say it's the compliance team's fault, because sometimes compliance members in different jails actually get pulled to the floor to help out, because when you're short-staffed, a jail is mandated to have 1 to 48 officers. So if somebody's sick, or if you had to take somebody to the hospital, whatever the situation is, sometimes a compliance team member gets pulled in to cover a shift to work the floor.
Absolutely.
So I wouldn't put that blame on a compliance team.
That's good. So you said you guys handle jail complaints?
We do.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's I'm going to ask about that because I think that somebody watching might be like, "What? Do you guys have an opinion?" You guys just want them answered, right? If a jail complaint comes in, you just want a response. If there's an agency who feels like the JA or the jail administrator is the only person that should answer complaints or anything like that, the jail commission doesn't have a rule like that. They just want the response.
We do not. We want an investigated response, yes.
Okay.
Whether it be the jail administrator or a sergeant or all the jails are different in that aspect.
Right. And but answering it is the most important thing. Getting the timely response back to you guys.
Yeah, we want a response with the evidence. We always have to make sure we get proper evidence to answer a complaint.
Not just
Can I touch on that?
Please.
So I got the privilege of working with Ricky for several years. I was a criminal investigator at my previous agency in McLennan County. He took that my experience in that, and I became the complaint inspector basically for our facility there. So I kind of knew what I needed to look for and what I needed to put together. And as the compliance unit, we have access to all that documentation. So if we need to respond to a complaint, we generally have all the documentation already there in a subfolder or something, so we can provide that evidence to that complaint response. So
very good. I know that just different agencies have different ways that they would do. So do you guys handle the jail complaints? Who does that for you guys?
I actually manage the jail complaints.
Okay.
I answer them. I do the investigation. However, I do send them down to the building lieutenant sometimes as well, because there's a little bit more that they may have than I have. So I'll do a cursory overlook and see what I can do to help them, and then I send it down to them and I give them a deadline, because obviously we're on a timeline of when we need to respond, and I still need to finalize everything, put it all together, put it in a memo in our major's name, and then send it to him for review and approval before I upload it into the Box app. So
into the box.
Yeah.
So I'll say this: we had a complaint class at the conference
Right
here, and we asked that question. How many jail administrators do we have here, and do you answer your complaints or to somebody else? And the majority of the jails that we had in our class, the jail administrator actually starts the complaint, works the complaint, gathers everything, and answers the complaint. For the ones that are fortunate to have the staff and the resources to have compliance teams and investigators, there were some, but the majority of the jails in the state probably the jail administrator does all that.
Well, and it's just a lot of responsibility,
It is.
and we kind of all have that.
And
If you want the job done right.
well, and as a past jail administrator, I didn't because I had somebody, but I read every single one before it was sent off.
Very good.
yeah, and we still do that. Anytime we respond and get the evidence all put together, it goes to our jail administrator for review before it's to make sure, just another set of eyes to make sure we didn't overlook something before it goes back to the jail commission for review.
They also want to know what's going.
They do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Do we
Yeah,
have
you
a
need to
finding
know
or
the
do we
answer.
not?
Yes,
absolutely.
What happened with that complaint?
Yep.
Yeah, the first time I ever saw what I learned was called a compliance officer. I was touring a different facility, and there was activity happening, and there was an officer standing off to the side, and I said, "What's that guy?" They said, "That's a compliance officer." I go, "Well, what do? They kind of just oversee, they shadow, and they make sure the officer's doing the job right." And I thought, well, that's interesting. That's the first time I'd ever heard the term, and I don't think there was really oversight of paperwork or forms or anything involved at that time. And since then, I've talked with that agency, and they don't have that anymore. They did see that as kind of a snitch officer and not well received by their peers. But definitely what I did see when we built the compliance unit at an agency I worked for, and then where I am now, the centralizing of the forms, the having everything in one place. And now in my role, having sat through inspections and everything coming down, I remember when I came from a very large agency, Dallas, we would carry over these stacks of paperwork to the centralized area, and like each jail would come over with these boxes of paperwork, and now to see it all come from one place makes a huge difference. So I'm going to kind of give you guys each a minute to, or just an opportunity to, anything else you want to kind of say to wrap that up. I really don't know if our audience are we doing the same thing they're doing, or would we benefit from having something like this? But just from your perspective, anything you want to kind of share about it as we wrap up.
I would say if you have the opportunity, small or large agency, have a compliance section and have a backup. have a backup to what it is that you're doing. You don't want to be the sole individual doing it. And I completely understand there's smaller agencies, but always have someone that's available to assist you and know where that information is and give to be able to sit in your place. You have to set somebody up to be successul in your place. So that's what I would say. And it just builds your relationship, and that it bridges that gap. Yep.
Yeah. And you said it perfectly, because what if something happens and I can't be there? I want to teach someone what I know and what to do, that they can just step up and there's no gap there, right? Mm-hmm. And so it just you want everything to be seamless, and that's just like getting ideas from other agencies too.
Absolutely.
Talking, communicating with other agencies and their compliance teams, and because I don't have all the answers, but I like to have connections and networking where I know I can reach out and say, hey, I need help with this. I need an answer for this, and there's someone there to help out. So,
Absolutely.
and that's even our jail inspectors.
Mm-hmm. Good segue.
They're not there for a gotcha. They're there for we're here to help you.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And as a regulatory agency, it's all about resources. If you have the resource and you can build the compliance team and utilize it, it's a great tool. Mm-hmm. If you don't, we understand that. We don't look at anything any different. We're just looking to make sure the whole jail is safe, secure, and doing what it's supposed to do.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you guys sitting down with us today. I know you mentioned that you guys had already covered some of this stuff. And it's a great opportunity, I think, for us to take little bits from our conferences and bring them here to the table. And if you're not able to come to a conference and sit into a session, this is some of the stuff that's covered if you get the opportunity to be here. So a snippet from some of our conference sessions, and we appreciate you being with us today. So this is Jail Talk.
This has been Jail Talk, the official podcast of the Texas Jail Association. To learn more about the Texas Jail Association, visit texasjailassociation.com.